Look at this dude. What's up guys, I'm Josh and I lift things and I'm here to talk about bulking, Diet 101. I'm going to explain what bulking is, why it happens, the difference between lean bulks and dirty bulks, and then I'm going to throw in some useful tips at the end, so make sure you watch till then. Too long didn't watch. Eat 250 to 500 calories over your TDEE for about half a pound to 1 pound of weight gain per week. So bulking is just eating over your TDEE, and you can click the link in the top right hand corner to see my video on that. This is known as eating a caloric surplus. The reason you would want to do this is just to put on more muscle mass. Creating and supporting muscle takes a whole lot of energy. Your body doesn't really want to go into this energy debt, so in order to build or keep this much muscle, you typically have to eat at a caloric surplus. Beginners or people really new to the gym or people on PEDs can have a great time building muscle while losing fat, but for the average person, it's almost impossible. Bulking also has another benefit that isn't touched on that much, and it's the ability to easier hit your micronutrient targets. Think about it, if you were on a very restrictive caloric deficit, it could be harder to eat all the foods you have to eat in order to hit your micronutrient goals. People may think, oh, it's not that bad, I just won't be as healthy, but no, these vitamins and minerals have downstream effects on tons of hormones in your body, primarily testosterone. So when you bulk and you have more options available to eat foods, you have more chance to get in these micronutrients. So how much over your TDEE should you be eating? Well, like most things, it depends on your goals. The typical advice given is anywhere from 250 to 500 calories over your TDEE. Eating a 250 caloric surplus will result in about a half a pound of weight gain a week. And the reason for this is 1 pound of fat is basically equivalent to 3,500 calories. So if you took 3,500 for the calories in a pound of fat, and divided that by 7 for the amount of days in a week, you'd get 500 calories a day. So if you divided that 500 by 2 and get 250, that would equate to about half a pound of fat gained a week. Obviously, a lot of this weight gain could be from water weight by increased glycogen. A fair bit of it will be muscle, but a lot of it will also be fat. You have to put on fat when you're bulking. That's just the name of the game. But with a 250 calorie surplus, you will be limiting the amount of fat gain that you actually put on. Now you could eat 500 calories a day over your maintenance. This would result in about 1 pound of weight gain a week, but a higher portion of that weight gained will be fat. The 250 calorie surplus would be considered more of a lean bulk. This means you won't put on as much fat, hence the lean bulk moniker. The downside to this is that your bulk will just take longer. You'll probably put on a little bit less muscle, and the margin of error of calorie counting is already pretty high. This means that the lower you go on your surplus in order to stave off as much fat gain as possible may mean that you're eating at maintenance some days, under maintenance on others, or way over on others. So that's important to keep in mind. But I think it's important to consider just how slow this is. If you're only gaining about half a pound a week, that's only about 26 pounds in a year. If you're someone who is terribly underweight, that's going to take a long time to put on some meaningful mass. Obviously, if that 30 pounds of weight gained was all muscle in a year, that'd be very impressive. But it won't be. The 500 caloric surplus really isn't a dirty bulk, and it's kind of the bread and butter for most beginners trying to put on weight. You won't get too fat, assuming you don't do it for forever, and it's enough calories extra to actually put on a significant amount of weight. But now we have the dirty bulk, aka the eat whatever the fuck you want. You know that old boomer joke? I'm on a seafood diet. I see food, I eat it. It's kind of apt here. You're downing mutant mass gainer, eating McDonald's 7 times a week, and then you can hardly breathe whenever you walk up the steps. I do not recommend dirty bulking, barring some very extreme scenarios. If you're terribly underweight, feel free. Or if you're like me and you have Crohn's disease, well, dirty bulk can really help you put on weight after having a significant flare-up. I think it's important to remember the downsides of dirty bulking though. I'm sure you've heard of muscle memory, which is somewhat of a misnomer, but there is something kind of similar to fat memory. When you gain fat, you don't always just make your current fat cells larger. You also create new fat cells through something called adipogenesis, or the creation of adipose tissue. When you lose weight, you do not destroy these newly formed fat cells. The only way to remove them is through surgery, like liposuction. You'll simply just make them smaller. This means that every time you gain weight, you have the potential to be fatter than you were last time. And also, when you dirty bulk, you typically have to end your bulk sooner, otherwise you would get too fat. This means you had much less time to put on any meaningful muscle mass in the first place. And also, I'd feel bad if I didn't say this, if you're super young, I do not recommend bulking in the traditional sense. You shouldn't be counting calories or doing anything like that. There's no reason to give you this like mental minor eating disorder or anything like that. Just try to eat more, try to exercise, and you'll figure it out. Another thing to touch on is the hard gainer. Dude, I eat a pizza every single day and I never gain any fucking weight. I have the fastest metabolism. No, you don't. Track your calories. I guarantee you, if you do that for a week straight, you will figure out you are not eating enough. If you do think you're eating enough, you need to recalculate your maintenance. It's as simple as that. These people who love to say that, oh, I eat chocolate every single day, but then fail to account that they didn't eat anything besides that. Or I had an entire pizza last night, but then the the entire week after that, they barely ate. Track your calories and do not tell us that you have a fast metabolism. And then one more point before we get into the useful tips is cardio. Some people like to say that cardio is a gains goblin and those people are just idiots. I think a lot of people say it just because they want an excuse to be lazy, but especially on a bulk, cardio can just be amazing. Besides even the general health benefits, it also just increases your appetite like crazy. If you've never been that deep into a bulk before, you probably don't know how hard it is to shovel in that much food, but it's rough. So if you burn 100 calories from doing your cardio, but then you can eat an additional 500 calories on top of that because of your hunger increase, it's beneficial. All right, so I've explained what bulking is, you know why it works, why you would want to do it, the differences between lean bulks and dirty bulks. So now let me just give you some tips in case you happen to be struggling. Water can fill you up, but it can also help you get meals down. Use appropriately. If you cook with butter, add in some oil, or vice versa. Cook your rice with broth rather than water for a little bit of extra calories. Nuts and nut butters are your friends, if you're not allergic. Dairy is your life source, if you're not intolerant. Wake up earlier and eat right away. The more hours you're awake, the more you can eat. Save fibrous veggies for later in the day because they fill you up. Avoid mass gainers. If you need them, go for it, but there are cheaper and more healthy ways to get your calories in. Add sauces to everything. Ranch, barbecue, whatever. Eat fattier meats. Swap out the turkey for something like ground chuck and don't drain the fat. Add everything to one bowl and make a slop out of it. I don't know why, but mentally it makes it easier to eat a lot. Avoid any stimulants like caffeine. They will blunt your hunger. As stated earlier, cardio can help increase your hunger. Eat more simple carbohydrates. They won't leave you full as long. Liquid calories. Learn how to make a good protein shake. Protein, bananas, oats, peanut butter, milk, whatever. And finally, learn how to be uncomfortable. You're gonna feel like shit when you're doing a really deep bulk, just like you're gonna feel like shit when you're doing a really deep cut. If you want to attain that physique that you're after, sometimes you gotta make sacrifices. And guys, that's the video. If you're still here, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. You kinda owe me. If you like this style of content, you can follow all of these socials where I post exercise content similar to this every single day. You can find the links to those and my Discord in the description. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.